I live in a small town where everyone knows everyone. The type of town where not getting a casserole when you move in means no one wants you around and you should start saving up to move away. I've lived here my whole life, so have all my friends and family. Most everyone is a farmer, and we all get along well. We see each other at church every Sunday, attend barbeques and events, and kids can play outside with no worries about kidnapping. It was a good life. Then March 23rd came. 9-year-old Anna Moore's parents went to go wake her and came across a truly horrendous sight. Her room was almost the same as the night before. Books on insects on the floor, clothes and papers littering her desk, unfinished homework scattered about. Her blankets were in place, as though she was still sleeping. Her worn-out butterfly plush was ripped apart, and its wings had been placed on her pillows. Her dresser had one drawer open, and some clothes had been taken. Anna had been a bright young girl, so upbeat and friendly. She loved insects and could always been seen trying to catch one on her hand. She even liked roaches. I'm twice her age, and I still scream when I see one. It didn't matter how much of a nuisance the bug could be. She loved them. I loved babysitting her. Her mother's scream has never left my mind. I was walking some dogs when I heard it. You know what rabbits sound like when they scream? That was it. Just inhuman and horrific. Her father and brother would go out every night with their shotguns and rifles to try and find her. They'd come to my father's bar afterwards with defeated expressions. Defeated isn't even the right word, but I doubt there's a word in any language to get the point across. May 8th. God help me. Calla Dollenganger was next. She and her sister Marie were 17 at the time. They were both the sweetest people I'd ever met. They'd always perform at gatherings, and the whole town loved them. Calla was so cheerful and wonderful, and I miss her every single day. Whatever it was that took her, she didn't deserve it. She had gone missing while camping with some friends. Ben, her ex-boyfriend, had said that she went back to her car to get something and never returned. Everyone searched for her, but all they found were scraps of fabric, strands of her black hair on branches, and her favorite sunglasses. Those red heart frames were smashed to bits. Later on, they said, they heard her voice calling out to them as sweetly as always, but it would get farther and farther away as they got closer. Marie was inconsolable. I remember I tried to give her my condolences on the last day of school, and she just shoved me down. "I hope you're next, Nola," she had hissed out. "Bring her back." Don't think badly of her, please. Calla was her favorite person in the whole world. She was found unresponsive in her bed just a month ago. Rumors had swirled around the school hallways the next day. She saw the creature, saw it, and lost her soul, they said. I don't know if that's true. Her family will be moving away next week. June 2nd. Piper Sweeney was after Calla. No one really missed her. She was a bitter and angry teen, the type of person who lashed out at everyone and anyone for things she refused to fully explain. Still, she had her moments where she was so goddamn funny and clever. Her disappearance was blamed on her father, but there's no way he could fake the footprints that were found. 5-inch wide, muddy footprints that dirtied up the carpet and flooring. They were round and weirdly shaped, almost like hooves. Even if he was as drunk as sin, he wouldn't make those. He's an uptight man with more secrets than it's worth getting into. Younger girls started going missing over the summer. 13, 7, 2, 4, 11, 5. All at home, all with the doors and windows locked tight. Whatever took them, it hasn't stopped. It just slowed down. I got 2 packages sent to my house yesterday. One was absolutely normal, just materials to make a gift for Marie. I make dolls in my spare time and wanted to make 3. 2 for her to keep and 1 to bury. They're going to look like her and Calla's favorite characters. The other package was just plain eerie. 2 trail cam photos of girls. One was Mitzi Hollinger, 20. The other was Charity Albright. Mitzi's picture is too disturbing to describe first, so we're getting the other events of yesterday first. Sorry to everyone who wanted the weird crap. Y'all have to wait a second. So as soon as I got the photos, I went to the cops and wasn't the only one there. Mrs. Albright was reporting the disappearances of her daughters, Charity, 13, and Valentine, 5. She and her husband had to go to a real estate convention 2 days ago, so they hired Mitzi to watch over the girls. She was a college student with a good head on her shoulders from what I've heard. Studious and helpful. Never one to hurt others. She was the valedictorian in high school. That type of person. Mrs. Albright was screaming at the police chief, Howard, screaming that he couldn't understand her loss and agony because he wasn't a parent. I'm not going to write what she said because it was terrible. I just sat on the lil folding chair while waiting for her to finish up, and it felt like it had taken forever. When she finally was done, I showed Howard the pictures, and he asked to keep them. I actually photocopied them before, and I'm staring at them as I type this up. When Mrs. Albright saw me, she asked if my dad could help out. He's a retired cop, 30 years on the force. I said, "I'm sorry, but there's not much he could do. What happened, though?" She showed me the videos on her phone, and I almost wish she hadn't. Mitzi showed up shortly after the Albrights left, and Charity had talked to her on the porch for a few minutes about what they were going to do that night. It was almost all fine and dandy, but Mitzi looked so wholly wrong. Like, she looked like a bloated corpse at times and nothing but bones at others. Charity didn't seem to notice because she let her in, and everything seemed fine for a few hours. At around 8 p.m., the girls left. Valentine was happy and talking in a sing-song voice. At one point, she said, "Alice, Alice! We're off to see Alice!" Charity held her hand and told her to be quiet, all while nervously looking at Mitzi. I wonder if she saw the same thing I did. Mitzi returned to the house at 3 a.m., but it was too dark to see much else. Despite that, I know there was blood on her. Now, back to the trail cam photos. Charity's photo consists of her running past the trees, and there was some blood on the skirt of her nightgown. I recognized the location because the trail cams belong to my family. I used to be scared of the animals that live in the woods, so my dad put them up. That one was taken at 1:35 a.m. As for Mitzi's photo, I'll do my best to describe it. She's walking past the camera, head held high and eyes alert on something in front of her. There's some blood on her hands and in her hair, just enough to tell what it is. Her body looks so horribly wrong. Her left leg is just ribbon-like flesh, clinging to something that isn't even bone, too oddly shaped and the entire wrong color. I don't even know what color it is. The nails on her right hand were long and black, curled up a bit at the ends. Her right leg looks more like a hoof. The time showed 1:20 a.m. I didn't want to show them to Mrs. Albright at first, but I felt compelled to. I wish I hadn't. The wail that escaped her was so terrible and animalistic. I can never wish that sound on anyone. I haven't showed them to my parents yet, but I will soon. Thanks to everyone who read my first post. I'm going to do more research while waiting for the dolls to dry. 07, I just got a text from Marie as I'm finishing this up. She wants to meet me this weekend and hang out like old times. I'll report back with how it goes. Edit, I'm never playing RE4R ever again. My dad and I were sitting on the couch and playing it not even 10 minutes ago when my mom got a text in the neighborhood group chat that Mrs. Moore died. Apparently, she had a heart attack from the sight of her missing daughter. If anyone wants to buy the Moore's horse to help them out, HMU. Jesus Christ, I don't know what to say. Some of you seem to be skeptical of Marie, so I'll find a way to let y'all know I'm still me every update. Thanks again for the concern. Nola signing off. It's been a few days since my last post, sorry about that. For anyone who hasn't read the first 2 posts, my small town has been plagued by disappearing girls since March 23rd of this year, and one of my friends was one of those girls. Her name is Kala Dollenganger, and I last said that I'd be talking to her sister, Marie, this weekend. She's the reason I'm doing all of this. Anyways, I talked to Kala's ex-boyfriend, Ben, today. That's where this post begins. He was at the library, and I decided to record our conversations to make writing this easier. Ben, if you're reading this by some chance, I know I should have told you. Sorry about that, dude. I asked him if we could talk, and he said this. Ben asked, What do you want to know, Nola? What happened in the woods when you went camping? I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. Ben exhaled sharply, his frustration obvious. I already told your dad everything. Since when were you a special agent? Please, just answer the question, dude, I pressed. After a pause, he gave in. All right, Lily said she needed to go get her sunglasses from the car. I didn't think twice about it. She wanted to take some photos for her Instagram, said the lighting was just right. 20 minutes passed, and I started to think something was weird, but I figured she must have found a nice spot or something. 20 minutes? That's faster than usual, I said, trying to lighten the mood. He let out a faint laugh. You know how she is. Yeah. My voice trailed off. When did everyone else notice she was gone? I don't know who I told first. Maybe Cheryl or Oliver? I don't remember. We all just realized she hadn't come back and started looking for her. I don't know how long we searched. Maybe it was 3 hours, maybe it was 5 minutes. I raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? Ben shifted uncomfortably. Time was weird, okay? I just know that it got dark way too soon. I think we were trying to sleep when I heard her voice. She kept calling me. Ben, I'm over here. Ben, come on, come on, come on. Real eager, like nothing was wrong. I'm sorry, I murmured, guilt creeping into my tone. It's fine, he said, though the strain in his voice told me otherwise. Don't worry about it. I followed her voice, but it kept getting farther away. I remember getting snagged on a branch, and then her tone changed. How? I asked, leaning closer. It was like she couldn't remember her own voice, he said, his words barely above a whisper. She sounded so close, but also not. Why are you doing this, Nola? This was months ago. Why? I don't know, I admitted, my voice cracking. I just want to find her. It's useless, okay? He snapped, then quickly deflated. I thought you loved her, I said softly. I do, he said, his words heavy with emotion, but that won't bring her back. Please just leave me alone. All right, I said, my heart sinking. I'm sorry, Ben. Really sorry. He looked away, the silence between us stretching painfully. Then, almost as an afterthought, he added, one more thing. She and Marie had a fight that day. That's why she came along instead. After a very depressing realization, I ran into some new people. I didn't even know people had sold their houses, but I guess that's inevitable, right? Anyways, their names were Pippa and Anne McLaren, and they were both maybe college age or a little older. The weirdest part is that I feel like I've seen them before. I talked to them for a little bit, but they were both kind of spacey and absent-minded. I don't want to call them this because it seems rude, but the word docile comes to mind now that I've had some time to think. They both had big, doe-like eyes and sugary sweet voices, but it didn't feel right. It was like they were trying too hard to come off as polite, but maybe I'm just bad at reading people. Marie texted me again today, and she said she had a gift for me. I can't wait another day, so I'm going to move it to tomorrow. Guys, my mom just came into my room crying. Mitzi was found dead in a ditch earlier today, and she's apparently been there for over a month. If it wasn't for her jewelry and painted nails, no one would recognize her. Most of her skin had been removed and her clothes were gone. I feel sick to my stomach, and it doesn't help that there's a stotum right outside. I think I'm going to eat some paper and vomit, BRB.